Good morning Year 7 and welcome to today's maths lesson. Hopefully you've had a nice half term and you're all well rested and ready for some learning. So question 1, can you work out 360 take away 176? Question 2, can you convert 7 over 5 to a mixed number? Question 3, if 2 books cost £4.50, how much do 6 books cost? And finally, can you add together for me a half plus 5 over 4? Pause the video and have a go at those questions in your light blue books now, please. Okay, let's go through some answers. So I've got 360 take away 176. I'm going to do a quick sum. There's my 360, take away 176. Let's see, 0 take away 6 I can't do, so I need to borrow from this 6, which leaves me with 5 here. Carry the 1. 10 take away 6 gives me 4. 5 take away 7 I cannot do, so I need to borrow 1. 15 take away 7 I can, which gives me 8. And 2 take away 1 gives me 1. So 184. Converting 7 over 5 to a mixed number. Well, I know there's one lot of 5 in 7. So I've got a whole 1. And what have I got left over? 7 take away 5 leaves me with 2. So I've got a whole and 2 lots of 5 left over, or 2/5. Next question. If 2 books cost £4.50, how much does 6 books cost? Well, let's work it out. If 2 books cost £4.50, I can find the cost of 4 books by doubling it. £4.50 times 2 gives me £9. I now know the cost of 4 books and the cost of 2 books, so if I add those together I can work out the cost of 6 books. 6 books is going to cost me £13.50. And my last question, I asked you to add together some fractions. What do I need to do if I'm adding fractions? I need to make the denominators the same, exactly. So I'm going to put them both over 4. So I'm going to convert my half to 2 over 4. Leave my 5 over 4 as it is. Which gives me 7 over 4. And Ione, can you convert 7 over 4 to a mixed number for me? Great, I've got one lot of 4 in 7, so 1, and 3 left over, so that will give me 1 3/4. Right, let's head into today's lesson. Here I've got a square. Currently, there's no way to distinguish between any of those sides. So if I said the side over here, there'd be no way to distinguish which one I was talking about. But how could I label the square so that I could start distinguishing between those sides? KJ, any thoughts? Great, let's use the alphabet. Why not label this point A, this point B, this point C, and this point D? You could use any letter of the alphabet you like. Usually in maths we go for A, B, C, D. I can now distinguish those sides because I can say that this side at the top is side AB. I could then describe this side on the left hand side. I could call that AD. And this is how mathematicians like to label different shapes. So now that we've labelled the corners, vertices, we can begin to work with the shape. For example, I could be asked, can I measure the length of side CD? We know that CD means this side here. So if I want to measure it, I take out my ruler, line it up with C, and side CD would be 51 millimeters. Or 5.1 centimeters. And I could do the same with any of my sides. I could be asked to measure the side AB. There's side AB, it's on the top. I could move my ruler up, and again it's the same length because it's a square. Now, normally in maths, we label sides in alphabetical order. You could also call this side BA, but normally we'd call it AB. Okay, Year 7. Can you give me the title in your dark blue books, labelling shapes and angles? And underneath, can you write the sentence, we label shapes with letters, oh, missing an S, with letters at each corner. This allows us to identify the shape with a name. Please write that in your dark blue books for me. Underneath that, I've drawn you a diagram. I've said this shape, for example, could be called ABCD because we've got a point A, a point B, a point B, and a point D. However, I could also call this shape here, ABCD, as long as I label my vertices A, B, C, and D. Over to you, Year 7. Pause the video for 5 minutes or so. How many different shapes can you draw called ABCD? Get creative, any you like. Off you go. Pause the video and complete that now for me. Okay, there's loads and loads and loads of possibilities. You could have drawn a rectangle. That would work. As long as you label it A, B, C, or D. And you could have drawn any quadrilaterals you like. Okay, in your dark blue books, I'm going to do an example and then you're going to do an example. So pens down and eyes on me. I've been asked to draw a shape PQRS. Now because it's got 4 letters in its name, we know that it's going to have 4 corners. But that's all we know. So PQRS could potentially look like this. All we know about PQRS is that it's got 4 corners that are labelled P, Q, R, and S. Underneath, I've been asked to draw a shape called PQR. This time there's only 3 letters, so we know this shape has only got 3 vertices or 3 corners. So it's got to be some kind of triangle, but that's again all we know. Lots of possibilities you could choose. Over to you, Year 7. In your dark blue books, please pause the video for a couple of minutes and draw as many different shapes called E, F, G, H as you can, and as many different shapes called M and O as you can. Pause the video for 5 minutes and have a go at that now, please. Okay, I'm going to give you one possible answer for each of these. You might have a variety of different versions. Here's E, F, G, H. That'll do. Making sure to label my vertices. You can go in either order. You could go E, F, G, H, or you can go E, F, G, H. And for MNO, we've only got 3 letters this time, so we know it's got to be some kind of triangle. I'm going to choose this triangle. Make sure I label my points M, N, and O. The advantage of labelling up our shapes is that now if I was asked to find the length, for example, MN, I would know that I was talking about this top length on the triangle. I could use my ruler and work out that the length would be 82 millimeters or 8.2 centimeters. Okay, in your dark blue books, can you write me the title underneath your work, which says using a ruler, and then pens down, eyes on me. I'll go through an example and then you're going to do an example. So title, using a ruler, I'll do an example and then you're going to do an example. So I've got a straight line here, it's purple, and I've been asked to find the length of this line to the nearest tenth of a centimetre and the nearest millimetre. So I'm going to get my ruler out, I line up the 0 at one end of the line, and I look how far along my line reaches. So I've lined up the 0, and this line I make it out as 76 millimetres. We know that there's 10 millimetres in a centimetre. So to the nearest tenth of a centimetre, I just need to divide my millimetres by 10, which leaves me with 7.6 centimetres. Okay, that was my turn. Mini whiteboards for me, or in your dark blue books, can you draw out this line and then can you tell me how long is this line, and give your answer to both the nearest tenth of a centimetre and the nearest millimetre. So draw out the diagram in your dark blue books for me and tell me how long is this line. Pause the video for a minute and work that out now. Okay, let's go through the answer. To the nearest tenth of a centimetre, we're looking at 5 centimetres plus an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 millimetres. So we're looking for 5.5 centimetres. And to the nearest millimetre, there's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 55 millimetres. Okay, this example needs to be in your dark blue books. And now we're going to head over to our mini whiteboards or light blue books for me. How long is this line? Pause the video, have a little think. Let's go through the answers. This time we've got 1 centimetre, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're looking at 1.9 centimetres. There's 10 millimetres in a centimetre, so that's going to be 19 millimetres. How about now? How long is this line? Pause the video, have a little think, write down your answer in your light blue book. Okay, let's go through it. This time I'm going to start with millimetres. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 millimetres. So to the nearest tenth of a centimetre, that's going to be 0.4 centimetres. How about now? Pause the video, have a little think, write down your answer in your light blue book. Okay, this time we've got 1 millimetre or 0.1 centimetres. Okay, so we've labelled our shape. We can now identify and we can measure side lengths. We've practiced using a ruler. So question 1 for me, how long is side length AB? Well, AB is this side here. We've labelled it. I've been asked to find it to the nearest tenth of a centimetre. So I take my ruler, I line up the 0 at A, I rotate it so that my ruler lines up with the side length, and we're looking at 48 millimeters, which is how many centimeters, Zara? Great, 4.8 centimeters. My second question says how long is side CD? I take my ruler, I put it alongside CD, line it up. This time it wants it in millimeters, so it's 36 millimeters. Okay, Year 7, mini whiteboards. Write down the name of the highlighted side of this irregular hexagon. Mini whiteboards in the air, 3, 2, 1. Cool. So this side is labelled AB or BA. Normally we'd do it in alphabetical order, but AB is what I was looking for. How about now? ED, lovely. Or DE is what we'd normally call it. How about now? Great, AG. Or you might have called it GA. We'd normally do it in alphabetical order. Okay, Year 7, can you now take your printed version of this PDF, which I've attached to Google Classroom, and have a go at completing the questions on it? Your PDF might be printed in black and white, so please use the video to line up which of those black and white lines should be which colour, so that you can determine the name of each of the coloured sides. Please spend about 10 to 15 minutes on this. You're going to need a ruler, and when you've finished, here are your answers. Please check your work. And that's the end of today's lesson, Year 7. Can you now head over to Google Classroom and complete today's exit ticket? Thanks very much for listening and have a great day. Goodbye.